Hi, I'm Harold Wildeson, and I want to welcome you to This Is My Story.
Love and blessings He'll provide all around the world. When you hear my story, give God the glory. Last week on This Is My Story.
I'd gotten involved in selling drugs, making drugs, distributing drugs. I mean, it was pretty bad. My grandfather kind of stepped in and said, listen, if you don't leave where you're at now and come with me and your grandma, a new destination and a clean start, you could die. I woke up in the hospital, but this time I was unrecognizable. Whenever they leaned me forward in the bed and I saw my face, I didn't think that I had a problem until then. My face was so swollen, Jess. My eyes, my nose, my cheeks, my ear. I didn't think I'd ever be the same. My name is Jeffrey Varner, and this is my story. My mom had been praying for me while I was unconscious. And at the time that my mom was praying for me, a nurse had overheard her, pulled her aside, and said, listen, I noticed that you were praying. I might know something that can help your son. And in my mom's hand was this pamphlet. And I remember her handing it to me, and even like the artwork on it, it was just, I was like, what is this? I was like, what do you want me to go to another rehab or something? And she's like, no, this is a discipleship program called Freedom House. And it's in Gettysburg. And if you'll go there, it might save your life. That same day, I made that phone call. I talked to the leader. His name was Ed. And he told me to come down. That's when things started to change. And I went to church and met this guy named Ed, who was on the phone. He sounded much older. I was like, this guy's doesn't even know me. And here I meet this guy, and he's like 18 years old, and he's got very similar style to me, and we got along. We hit it off. He welcomed me in. He took me to this house and he said, here's your bed. Be down for dinner at 7. This is what we do. And it was different than anything, than I had ever been through. I mean, I'd been through organized atmospheres, but at the same time, this guy was the real deal. He wasn't messing around. Something changed his life so strongly that he was willing to share it with others. Right. And I went through this program. And part of this program was we went to set Bible studies. I think it was like the first or second one. I went to one, and I noticed this girl who was just, she was just perfect. And now, I didn't expect to meet anybody. It wasn't one of those things. It's not like I was out on the prowl, It was like she was there, and I noticed her, and she stood out more than anybody in the world. Like there's nothing going on other than me noticing her and being like, wow, I just met this beautiful girl at this really cool Bible study. Now, this Bible study that we met at was SOS's, where we were talking, Cindy Janzik's, and it was a homey atmosphere. So everyone was always comfortable. She made cookies, and we got coffee, and it was like the coolest place to meet anybody. And time went on, and here I started seeing her more. So whenever I met her, we exchanged emails, I think, and I didn't even really have an email. I think I had to create one just so I could talk to her. We did end up going out on a date. Part of this program was you get a free day, and that was every Saturday. And I look forward to every one of those Saturdays because I was talking to her throughout the week, and she was into all these things that I didn't even know people do. And
oh wait, like rock climbing?
Rock climbing, hiking, camping. Like I never thought it'd be fun to climb a mountain. When we went out on this hike, and we talked for hours. It's like the perfect. I'd recommend anybody, if they're going to go out on a first date, to do something like that because you're forced to communicate. And here we talked for hours and hours, and but I was wearing like my street pants. Like I had my long not basketball shorts, jean shorts on. I went to my shins, and I had real tight basketball shoes, and she's wearing like her gear. She's all prepared. She had like an actual book bag on. I had a little like college knapsack that had I think it had like a banana and a pack of crackers in it. And I was like all prepared myself, like I know what I'm doing, but I had no idea. She obviously knew that I was in this program for a reason. She knew I had problems. She knew I had baggage. She knew I had a story. And I'll never forget, she asked me a question one time, and every part of my soul wanted to lie to her, because I was really afraid that if I told her the truth, she'd say, no, this might not work out. But I told her the truth. I thought to myself, I didn't come here to meet a girl. I didn't come here to do anything other than find out what can help me save my life. And I told her the truth, and she didn't run for the woods. So, I'm sure there's been times since then she's probably like, wow, what was I thinking? But she didn't, and I told her, and she didn't hang up on me. She didn't say, yeah, she didn't blow me off. She looked at me and listened to me in a way that she literally told me, well, that's who you used to be. And I had that grace that I'd never experienced from another human being.
Right.
In the world, when you hurt somebody, they remember, and they will easily throw it back at you. Do you remember when you did that? She never did that to me. Never once. She never second-guessed me. She always encouraged me.
What a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. I was growing closer to Christ, and I was developing that relationship. But then my intentions turned to, well, now I want to go to Bible study because Heidi's there. I want to invite her here because then I can see her. And it was like the complete vision of my purpose in being there. I was very distracted. I mean, she is absolutely beautiful, so that wasn't hard to happen. But my intentions became unpure again, and then by the end, I hit my 6 months. You're supposed to graduate at 6 months. They were talking about, wow, you're doing such a great job. We want you to step into leadership, to where it was almost like, wow, look at me. I got a job. I got this beautiful girlfriend. I've got a car now. This is great. My pride kicked in, and I ended up drinking. After all that, I ended up slipping up, having a drink, and I actually got away with that one. And then it went on again. And then finally, it blew up in my face. And when it blew up in my face, it blew up in my face. It wasn't a pretty sight. I lost her. I disrespected this program and what it stood for. I was very selfish, and I left the program. And I actually got into a car accident, and I almost died again. Yeah.
So then, I take it you woke up in another hospital room?
I did. I woke up in a hospital room. This time wasn't anything compared to the time I woke up and was this was, I knew what I had, and I knew what I had accomplished, and I knew how easily I let that fall from me.
Right.
How one poor decision jeopardized everything and ruined it in my eyes. I, at that point, was suicidal. I mean, I was admitted into the hospital, and I was devastated. I was crushed. And then I remember, wait a second, I have a relationship with Jesus now. And if he is really everything that people tell me he is, that the Word tells me he is, then this isn't over. This is just starting. Finally, I ended up going to another program because I was too embarrassed to go to Freedom House and say, hey, will you guys take me back because I really messed up? It was like, okay, I know what I need to do. I know I have a relationship with the Lord. I know what I need to do to be consistent with that relationship, but I know I need help, so I need to do something. And I went and did that, and I stayed clean and sober for about 6 months. I had pretty much just given everything to him and said, listen, you're going to help me. And in that, even after I had heard her and did all that stuff, she still showed grace to me. After all that, she still said, no, I love you, and I know that you're better than that. And that's what I did. And then I ended up actually getting incarcerated for that accident. And she would drive like 40 some miles just to see me, and for 2 hours, and then back and forth and back and forth. I'd lost my license again, and she just was so amazing, so compassionate and graceful. But she had told me, you know, I prayed for you before I met you. And I remember hearing that and saying, I don't know what that means. And when she explained it to me, how before I had met her, she had been coming home from college, and she prayed for her future husband to find her. And whenever she wrote this letter to me, and she said, I prayed for you before I met you, and I'm not gonna let you lose this fight. And she stood by me. She said, I know that you're better than this, and you were meant to do much more. I end up working this program, getting a job. Then now it's time for me to man up and accept responsibility for my actions. I had done everything I could to try and get like a time served, and hey, you know, he's doing really well, let's not put him in jail. But unfortunately, that's not how the system works. I had to accept responsibility for my actions. What I did was wrong, and getting behind the wheel of that car, I could have really, really hurt somebody, myself, or killed somebody. And so I checked myself in, and going in this time, I kind of knew that I had to do something different. I couldn't fall into the old behavior patterns. I couldn't just, you know, gamble and play cards and bet on football, and you know, I had to really, really do something different. And it started off great. I was reading, and I knew people in there. Ironically, people knew me from other towns that I'd lived in, and before I knew it, my attitude, I gave in. Here, Heidi was actually a teacher at this place. Here, before I had went, she had to write a letter and say, my boyfriend's getting ready to be incarcerated there. I want to let you know if there's something I need to do. They said it's fine. And here, her and I had been communicating through little notes, like, you know, you write notes in high school. That's what we were doing, and I was getting them from my ride, and it was like my encouragement. I was bringing them in with me on hard days, and I'd read them, and it was our only way of communicating because we couldn't talk by telephone in there. And I'll never forget it. Here, what had happened was, I honestly really don't know what happened. All I know is I woke up one day, and I'd been isolated from everything, and here they were going through my stuff, and I don't know if somebody had known something on the inside and said something, and here she ended up being let go from her job. Yeah, it was awful, and that was because my decision, my bad choice that put me in there. She lost her job. The toll that'll take on somebody, I couldn't imagine. I know how it was for me, and it wasn't even my job. So I'd gotten out, and it was, you know, part of a house arrest thing, and I had to be on house arrest for a number of days, and we tried to see each other as much as possible, but she could only come see me. I couldn't leave. I wasn't allowed to do anything, and I really became kind of bitter, I think. I think looking back, I think I was bitter. I was mad, like, how could I come so far and go through all this? And I remember, like, throwing scripture, you know, in prayer, saying, you know, look at Joseph, you gave him a kingdom, you know, after he got out of jail. What's this? Like, we were fighting all the time. My heart wasn't in the right spot. And here it ended up to another relapse. I knew I messed up. I lost my job. I had to do something. She was gone. I blew it. And this was the final straw. she knew it and cut off all contact. It was probably the most painful thing that I'd ever experienced because I could feel it. It wasn't like a numb to it. It was, wow, I really messed up. And here I finally broke down and contacted Freedom House, that program, and said, listen, I really messed up. And I destroyed the only positive thing in my life right now. And I need help. And the director of that program said, come on back. We've been waiting for you. And I went back, and the program, being the same program, went to the same places. And I'll never forget seeing her for the first time. I went in there, and just her seeing me hurt her so bad that she had to walk out of this Bible study. And in her hand was a ring that I used to wear that she was wearing. It was in her hand, and there was a letter in there, and she said, I can't do this anymore. And I knew that I had to let her go. I knew that if I didn't let her go, that I wasn't going to make it. And we parted ways from that point on, and we didn't contact each other for a while. I mean, we were done. It was probably a good month with very rare communication.
Yeah.
Finally, about a month in this program and talking again, you know, we're talking about stuff, and she brings up this vision that she had. She tells me that she had this vision of us kissing for the very first time on our wedding day.
So you hadn't kissed at all while you were dating?
No, we did before. Up until this point, we did kiss. We played with fire quite often. And that was one of the things that really ate at us, because we knew, me growing this relationship with the Lord and doing what I was doing, I knew it was wrong, but I didn't want to stop it. And she, her having her relationship with the Lord, knowing what she was doing, she wanted to stop it, but I didn't understand that conviction yet. I didn't have that. I wasn't there. I would watch her devastated and be like, what's the big deal? He knows we love each other. But I just didn't understand it. And then that moment then, whenever she said those words to me, I knew it was the only way we could do it. Honestly, I think I reacted like, sure, let's do it, because I was so happy that she wanted to be back with me. But whenever I thought about it, I was like, that is the most beautiful thing, to be pure, to have a second chance to live without any distractions like that. And here we started dating, and again, everything was fresh, but there were scars there. I had hurt her. I mean, it took a lot of work. But I was closer to the Lord that first month in that program all by myself than I had ever been, because I had never cried out to him the way I did. I cried for weeks. I was antisocial with anybody who didn't want to read with me. It's all I did was read and journal and write songs and all this stuff. It was just, everything was going to him. I every once in a while I'll pull out my journals and see where I was, and it motivates me because I see the pain whenever I read my own words. And knowing that, I knew this relationship, and then Heidi. I can't have Heidi without this relationship. It all made sense. It was like bells were going off.
Heidi, welcome.
Thanks. I just told him in the break that everything was accurate that he said, and he made me sound really good. I wish it was that easy. I love this man so much, and we've been through a lot, and I know that God's given me the grace, and, you know, I've learned that along my life from my mom and stuff like that, but through my relationship with God, I was able to have that grace with him and love him, and something in my heart just drew me to him, no matter what. No matter what pain, no matter what struggle we were going through together or separately, I just needed to be near him, and it was such a comfort to be near him. And I loved him so much, more than anything else. And he made me sound really good, but I think that through that grace that I kept giving, I also was building up some resentment towards him because of the pain, and my pride was growing as well, and I didn't even realize that until 2 months ago. It came crashing down around me. I built myself up on a pedestal because he hurt me. He did this. He messed up. He lied about this, you know, and all these things where I kept just raising myself up like, I can do no wrong. I've never caused him such pain in my life because I never messed up and I never went out and drank again, you know, and all this stuff, and I had no idea that I was even bringing that into our marriage. Just my baggage that I had never dealt with because he had enough in my mind that I didn't even get to my baggage. We were dealing with his, and it's been quite a journey, but I found that whenever I look to Jeff as my gift, my special gift from God, that God designed just for me. He designed this man next to me for me to spend the rest of my life with. I wouldn't change anything.
And you wouldn't change anything.
No. I smile today. When we first met, I couldn't smile. I didn't smile. Are there any photos of me smiling? Mm-mm. Today, I'm happy. I show my teeth now.
So you're the reason he shows his teeth.
Sure.
That's good. So how long have you two been married?
About 1.5 years.
This week is 1.5 years.
Oh,
24th.
Happy 1.5 year anniversary.
Yeah.
Would you two have any advice for anyone, any couples out there who are walking possibly a similar path?
The golden rule comes to mind, the treat others the way you want to be treated. If I mess up, I want to be forgiven. And not only that, but what God did for all of us, Jesus on the cross, like, who would I be to judge that and to say, you're not good enough? I mean, that would just be awful. I think that forgiveness is key in every relationship, and no one's perfect. We're all going to make mistakes, and really take it as a chance to examine yourself as well, instead of focusing on the other person and their faults and their struggles and their trials and tribulations that they're going through. Realize that you have a heart, you have a garden inside that needs to be weeded as well, and make sure that you're taking the time on you and not focusing so much on the other person.
I would tell the guys to never forget, even when you're married, you're still dating. When Heidi and I were dating, I opened a door for her. I arrived on time. I did all these things, and it's so important that we continue to do those. We can't become complacent, take anything for granted, because just like that, the enemy's number one goal is to take us out. How he does that, he's good at what he does. And if we're not on our guard and surrounded by good people and being productive and proactive and constantly appreciating what God's given us. You know, I look at it now in my life, like, I thought I had everything I ever wanted, but I lost it several times. This is the first time in my life I've ever had to actually work and earn something to where I appreciate what I have now, because I don't appreciate it as mine. I appreciate it as His gift to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take care of that gift and cherish that gift.
I heard a quote once that says, when you nurture and cherish your wife, you are nurturing and cherishing yourself. And it's so true. Well, Jeff, is there anything else you want to share with us?
God is good, you know. God is so good, and I wouldn't change anything either. And as crazy as that sounds, what I went through so that I could be who I am today. Right. And God turns wreckage into gold. And if He can salvage my disasters and turn it into a beautiful marriage and a family and a home, I'll smile at that. Before I go, I'm encouraged and blessed by my beautiful wife, who asked me to recite the story of my life one last time through a song. You see, I knew this guy Danny, he was just like you. In fact, he even walked and he talked like you. He had this really big plan, but he was so confused. He carried a gun and sold drugs to youth. He told himself daily it was too late to seek into the holy truth, until he put his headphones on, stepped in the booth, and then he started to flow and he cried to the mic, "Help me, Father, I lived this bad life. I never knew my dad. All of my friends went to jail, so how could this be life if things are just so bad?" Yeah, I tried to talk to Mom, but she was so sad. I had to pull him aside, we can go for a ride. See, I was just like you, couldn't swallow my pride. Well, 24 years of living in fear, to take one look in the mirror to realize that that man with the plan that I call Dan, wow, I am that man. You see, my mama told me then she couldn't sleep, because every time I would leave, something would happen to me. Whether it was a hospital room or I was back in jail, it's like I'd see my coffin, what was another nail? You see, the enemy fed me lies daily and told me no matter what I did, my system would fail. You see, a lot of things have changed because I've found this passion for the light. Because in my heart I carry Christ. Every day's a constant fight. Back in the day, the enemy used to control my life, but no longer, because I've been set free through Christ to celebrate Father's Day every night of my life.
Thank you for joining us today on This Is My Story. Blessings to you.
Love and blessings He'll provide all around the world. When you hear my story,